ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। शुक्लांभरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजेत् भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् अपारकरुणासिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखरेन्द्रगुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वहं। सद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। So now we are seeing Viveka Chudamani. We have to see from shloka number 6. A small recap. So what did Adi Shankaraj say? So there are 4 purusharthas, 4 goals of human life, of which moksha can only be attained by humans. Only humans are eligible for attaining moksha. So until that we have seen previously. And Adi Shankara said, hey humans, please don't waste this precious life, because once you waste this human janma, nobody knows when are you going to get human janma the next time. It's like winning like a lottery. You don't know when are you going to get the next human janma. So Acharya says, do not waste the human janma. And now the next question is, okay, I am human, I know that I am human, and I know that moksha is the thing to be pursued in human janma. The third question will be how to get moksha. That is the third question. And previously we have seen people say that there are several paths for moksha: karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, upasana yoga, hatha yoga, kriya yoga, etc. People think of multi paths for getting moksha, and Adi Shankara says no, there is no multiple path. There is only one path for moksha, which is jnana yoga. Moksha can only be attained by jnana. Adi Shankaracharya is going to say in these shlokas. Let us see what he is going to say. This is from shloka number 6. Vadantu shastrani yajantu devan kurvantu karmani bhajantu devataha atmaikyabodhena vinapi muktihi na siddhyati brahma shatantarepi. Shloka number 6. Vadantu shastrani. Shastrani, all shastras, dharma shastra. A person can be a samrat in dharma shastra. If you go and ask him, okay, how much days I have theta, if somebody passed away, then he does not have to refer the book. He can tell it from his memory. What is the best time to do this Somayaga. He does not have to go and see the book. He can tell it from his memory. Even for that person, or yajantu devan, people who are doing yajnas, Somayaga, Atiratra, there are several yajnas which goes on for several days. 13 days yajna is there. In fact, there are yajnas which goes for hundreds of years. Satra yajna goes for hundreds of years. So that yajna is there. Go and ask that Shrauta karma. Those people are called as Shrautihal or Dikshitas. Go and ask them. Okay, let a person be, very competent enough in doing all kind of yajnas. Let it be. Or kurvantu karmani. A person is selflessly working for the upliftment of society. Not like this politicians, but he has got real intentions to work for the society. He has built lot of blind schools, anadaya ashramam, etc. Let a person be like that as well. Or bhajantu devataha. That, a person follows all the vratams said in the Shastras. Ekadasi vratam he follows, Shivaratri Vratam he follows, Pradosham Vratam he follows, Somavara Vratam he follows. He does lot of puja for a lot of time. The person sits for puja or japa at 6 in the morning. He only stands up at 12 p.m. after for food. Let a person be like that as well. However, Atmaikya bodhena vinapi muktihi na siddhyati. Atmaikya bodhena vinapi. Atma aikya bodhena. Atma, Jivatma, and Paramatma. Aikya of both the Atmas. That is, if a person who does not understand that Jivatma and Paramatma are the same, a person who does not understand that his own Atma is Paramatma, a person who does not understand that, he himself is the unlimited source of happiness. Atmaikya bodhena vinapi muktihi nasiddhyati. For that person, he is not going to get moksha at all. For what time? For how much time? Brahma shatantarepi. Let hundreds of Brahma comes and go. But if a person does not understand Jivatma as Paramatma, he is not going to get mukti, even though he says Shastra, even though he does lot of good karmas, even though he does lot of yajnas, even though he does lot of pujas. Without the Atmaikya Bodha Jnana, a person is not going to get mukti. I'm not saying that Adi Shankaracharya is saying. We have a big problem, right? Let's see the problem, because we think, okay, only if I do bhakti to Bhagavan, he is going to give me moksha. If I do Sandhya Vandanam daily, it is going to give me moksha. If I chant Lalita Sahasranamam daily, it is going to give me moksha. That is what everybody says, right? All the Palashruti, if you want mukti, if you chant Vishnu Sahasranamam, you will get mukti. If you do Sandhya Vandanam, you will get mukti. If you read Bhagavad Gita, you will get mukti. That's what people all are saying. But here Adi Shankara is saying, without jnanam, you are not going to mukti. And that really confuses me. Now the student is really confused, as you guys are. But the thing is that in all the things that have been previously discussed in Shastras, during yajnas, in all the karmas, and in all the pujas, jnanam has got an important part. Jnanam is actually an integral part in all these four. I'm going to give you few examples how this is true. Let us take Sandhya Vandanam for example. Sandhya Vandanam is the most basic karma a person who undergoes Upanayana, who has undergone Upanayanam can do. It is like the most basic karma. And you know what? A very important part of Sandhya Vandanam is called as Aikyanu Santanam. When people doing Sandhya Vandanam, they know this mantra. They say, Asavadityo Brahma, Brahmaivahamasmi, Brahma eva aham asmi. That sun, Asau Adityaha. Aditya is sun. So the person is supposed to be chanting this mantra, looking at the sun or meditating upon the sun. He says, Asau Adityaha Brahma. That sun is Brahman only. And Brahma eva ahamasmi. More importantly, he says, I am that Brahman alone. I am not different from Brahman, says a person during Sandhya Vandana. We all do Sandhya Vandana. We all chant this mantra, but we just did not know the meaning. Real meaning of this mantra is, even in the karma, our ancestors, all the rishis, have injected the jnana vakyams into all the karmas. Okay, so Sandhya Vandanam is done. What happens to puja? Whenever we do puja, before the starting of puja, we do preparatory shlokas for the puja. And one of the preparatory shlokas for the puja is this one. Deho devalaya prokto jivo devas sanatanaha त्यजेत अज्ञान निर्माल्यम soham bhavena pujayet. All the person who does puja, they chant this mantra. You know what is the meaning of the mantra? Deho devalaya proktaha. Dehaha means this body. This body is a temple. Devalaya is temple. My body is temple. Jivo devas sanatanaha. The Atma inside the body, the Jivatma, is verily Bhagavan himself. Tyajet ajnana nirmalyam. Ajnana means ignorance. I have to leave my ignorance. Tyajet means lose it. I have to lose the ignorance. I have to remove that ignorance. And soham bhavena pujayet. Soham saha aham. Aham means I. Saha in Vedanta, if some person says Saha, Saha literally means that. If nothing else is there, and if just Saha, that is there, that refers to Brahman in Vedanta Shastra. So Saham, Saha, Aham Bhavena Pujayet. I have to do the puja with what bhava? I have to do the puja that I am Bhagavan. Even in order to do the puja, you have to assume that you are Bhagavan himself. That is why we say Mahanyasam and Lagunyasam before puja. Before doing Shiva puja, before chanting Rudra, we say Lagunyasam. Laghu means easy. Nyasam. There is an easier version of Nyasam. It says Atmanistapayet. Meaning, I have to install Bhagavan in my Atma. I have to understand that I am Bhagavan. And in Mahanyasa, it is present in words. It says, Narudro Rudra Marchayet. Do not do puja to Rudra without being Rudra. You have to be Rudra to do puja to Rudra, says Mahanyasam. Meaning what? You have to really take up the role of Rudra. You have to really assume that you are Bhagavan himself and then do puja to Bhagavan. In Shivacharyas, if you go to Shiva temple, the Shivacharyas, before doing puja, they actually do something called a Sakali Karanam, where they imagine their whole body to be that of Parameshwara. They say, these fingers are not mine. These fingers are Parameshwara's finger. These eyes are not mine. These eyes are Parameshwara's eyes. And I am not mine. My whole body, including my Atma, is that of Parameshwara. They say Bhagavan is so high that normal person cannot do puja to Bhagavan. A normal person has to convert into Bhagavan in order to do puja to Bhagavan. I come from a village called as Thiruvayyaru. In Thiruvayyaru, in all the Chaitra festival and all, there is a festival, it comes normally on the 5th day. And that 5th day festival is called as Tannaitan Pujittal. Meaning Shiva does puja to himself. That it is a festival in our place. People attach, different story for that. How Shiva can do puja to himself. They say that, the Shivacharya went to Kasi, he did not come back. But his role, it was his day to do puja. He did not come back. So Shiva, Bhagavan took the Shivacharya's appearance and Bhagavan did puja to himself. That is the story part they say. But the real meaning behind that Tannaitan Pujital is you have to assume that you are Bhagavan and you have to do puja to Bhagavan himself. That is the real meaning. So what does, in the previous shloka, you have to connect all these things. If a person does puja without that understanding, he is not going to get moksha. If a person does any karma without understanding that he is Bhagavan, he is not going to get moksha. So that shloka has to be interpreted in a proper manner. Let us take Lalita Sahasranamam for example. We all chant Lalita Sahasranamam daily, right? We all know the shloka. Arunam Karuna Tarangitakshim Dhrita Pasham Kusha Pushpa Bana Chapam Animadi Bhiravrutam Mayukaihi Aham Yityeva Vibhavaye Bhavani. I meditate upon Parameshwari as what? Not as an entity apart from me, but aham. Aham means I, capital I. I meditate upon Parameshwari as aham, as my own self, surrounded by all the animadisiddhis. I meditate upon Parameshwari. Says Lalita Sahasranamam. So all these things says, all these things are injected into our daily life, but we just don't know about the significance of all these things. Just like, வாழைப்பழத்துல ஊசி ஏத்துறதுன்னு சொல்லுவா. அந்த மாதிரி our ancestors, our rishis, with so much karuna, has devised these pujas, has devised the karmas in this manner so that we get moksha. Then my next question is, what about bhakti? Why don't you understand and why don't you agree that bhakti gives moksha? Because bhakti, everybody does bhakti, right? Why can't bhakti give moksha? That is the next question people have. The answer for that question, you have to go to Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, hey Arjuna, there are 4 bhaktas. He's not saying there are 4 people. He's saying there are 4 bhaktas. Chaturvido bhajante mam janas sukritinor-juna arto jignasurartarti jnani cha bharatarshabha. Hey Bharatarshabha, hey Arjuna, there are 4 bhaktas for me. Who are they? Arti, Artarti, Jignasu, and Jnani. We have to see what is Artha, what is Arthartha, what is Jignasu, and who is a Jnani. Artha Bhakta is the lowest level of Bhakta. Who is Artha Bhakta? These are the people who go to temple. They don't even buy a small sudam for Bhagavan, but they will have a big list. I want this, right from, okay, my next meal, I should have gulab jamun. Right from that prayer, they will pray, okay, my parents should get married, my parents Upanayanam, I should see. Until that, they will pray to Bhagavan without giving anything to Bhagavan. So that person is called as Artha. The second person, he is little bit better. He will do deals with Bhagavan. Hey Bhagavan, if you do this to me, I will give you this. If I get success in my business, I will give you 10% of my business, or 10% of the profit. That is the second type of bhakta. The third type of bhakta is called as Jignasu. He is actually better than all these people. He knows that Bhagavan is not something, he's not a grant wishing tree, but Bhagavan is something more. I just don't know what Bhagavan is, so I have to know more about Bhagavan. We all are Jignasus. That is why we are all sitting in Viveka Chudamani class. And the 4th type of bhakta is Jnani. He understands that Bhagavan and I are one and the same. There is really no difference between myself and Bhagavan. That is the 4th type of bhakta, right? And what should have Krishna says? Okay, Krishna should have really told, of these 4 people, Jnani is so arrogant. He thinks that he is me. How can he think he is me? That is blasphemy, right? So he is the lowest type of bhakta. And who is the greatest bhakta? The greatest bhakta should be Artharti, because I will grant him wish. In turn, he is going to give me something, right? He is going to give me sweet payasam. He is going to give me vennai. He is going to give me, he is going to do me lot of abhishekam. So Artharti should be the highest bhakta, right? That should have, Bhagavan should have really said that. If he has said that, it is so easy for us, but Bhagavan did not say that. In the next shloka, what he says, Tesham jnani nitya yukta eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnaninothyartam aham sacha mama priyaha. He says, I am dear to Jnani, and that Jnani is dear to me. He did not say, I am dear to that person who gives me vennai, because Krishna loves vennai. He did not say that. But what did he say? I am more dear to Jnani, and Jnani is more dear to me, said Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita. And in the next shloka is the ultimate shloka. He says, Jnani tu atmaiva me matam. He says, Jnani is verily my own self. There is literally no difference between me and Jnani, says Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita. It all comes under 4 type of bhaktas. So, our understanding of bhakti and jnanam is such that bhakti and jnanam are really 2 separate entities, and bhakti is all about praying, doing puja, singing, dancing, having fun, and jnanam is all about listening to Vedanta, with no fun, all boring stuff. That is what we think. But Bhagavan does not think so. According to our Shastra, Jnanam is really a part of Bhakti. In fact, Jnanam is the logical end of Bhakti. If we think we are so Bhaktiman, then we all are at Artharthi level. We think, hey Bhagavan, I will give you this, please give me this. Palum telithenum pakum parupum ivainangum kalandunakku naan tharuven kolam sei tungak kanimugattu thumaniye nee enakku changat tamil moondrum tha. We all will be that shloka, sticking to that shloka. Okay, I will give you this, and this. In turn, you will give me A, B, C, D, E. That is what we think is bhakti. But Bhagavan himself says, no. That is bhakti. Yes, I understand. You are my bhakta. I understand. But you have to mature to Jignasu and Jnani level, says Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita. So, Jnanam and Bhakti are not 2 separate things, but Jnanam is a part of Bhakti. You can really be a Bhakta while being a Jnani. So, we don't have to worry that, okay, I will get Jnanam, I cease to be a Bhakta. You don't have to worry that at all. You can be a Jnani while being a Bhakta. So, the same Adi Shankaracharya who wrote Upanishad Bhashyam extolling Jnana, the same Adi Shankaracharya wrote Bhajagovindam and Shivananda Lahari. Bhajagovindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate, says Adi Shankaracharya in Bhajagovindam. And Shivananda Lahari is the epitome of bhakti. It is 100 shlokas in Shivananda Lahari filled with bhakti. But the same Adi Shankaracharya wrote Upanishad Bhashyam as well. So how will you classify him? Will you classify him as a Bhakta or as a Jnani? He is both. He is both Bhakta and a Jnani. And for a Jnani, he will never find it difficult to be a Bhakta. So we really have to understand that before moving to real proper Vedantic studies and real studies of Viveka Chudamani. Here we have to think how fortunate we are to be born in the Sanatana Dharma. There are other religions which say you are anything but God. You can be anything, but you cannot be God. If the moment some person say, I am God, they say, hey, that is blasphemous, we have to kill you. And we all read news about this, right? So historically, we see if somebody says, hey, I am God, and people are killed in other parts. But you know what our Sanatana Dharma says? Sanatana Dharma says you are nothing but God. We all are God. All we have to do is just understand that. That is the glory of our Sanatana Dharma. And we have to be really fortunate for being born in this glorious Dharma and being, and for having found this, the study of Vedanta. To realize that we are the uninterrupted source of happiness. We are the unlimited source of happiness. I'm going to end this topic with a shloka from Saundarya Lahari. It is a very beautiful shloka in Saundarya Lahari. The shloka goes like this. Bhavani tvam dase mayi vitara drishtim sakarunam iti stotum vanchat kathayati bhavani tvamiti yaha tadaiva tvam tasmai dishasi nija sayujya padavi Mukunda Brahmendra Sphuta Makuta Nirajita Padam. Apparently, there was a Bhakta. He say, Bhavani Tvam Dase. He wanted to say, hey Bhavani. Bhavani is the name of Ambal. Tvam Dase. I am your Dasa. So please give me A, B, C, D, E. That is what he wanted to say. And he started saying Bhavani Tvam Dase. He started saying Bhavani Tvam. You know, Ambal is so Karuna Murti. Ambal didn't listen to all the later words he said. Ambal mistook his words as Bhavani Tvam. Bhavani Tvam means Bhavani-ness. The being Bhavani. That is called as Bhavanitvam. All Ambal heard was Bhavanitvam, and Ambal listened, oh, he doesn't want anything. He wants Bhavanitvam, meaning he literally wants to be me. And what did Ambal say? Ambal did not say, hey, arrogant person, how can you want to be me? You know, I am so great. I am God, but you are a Puru and Puchi. You are a Bhakta. You cannot be me. And, you know, the other gods would have killed him. But Ambal did not kill him. But Ambal actually mistook that as Bhavanitvam, and Ambal granted moksha to him. So that is so great. Our gods are willing to give moksha. Our gods are willing to give their own positions to you. You know, if we think about ourselves, we can be so great. Karna, you know, we can be like living Karna, giving everything. But what is the only thing we don't give other people? We don't give ourselves to other people. But our Bhagavans are so great that they are willing to give their self for us. All we have to do is just ask. All we have to do is just express interest in moksha, and Bhagavan will make sure that you get moksha. You don't have to feel guilt for, hey, okay, I want to be Bhagavan, and you know, I am going to be equal to you. You don't have to feel guilty for that. You know, all our shastras, all our pujas, everything is filled with statements like this. So we don't have to worry at all. We just have to follow the path of jnana. So that I'm pretty sure, like, so I hope that you guys are clear that jnana is the only way to get moksha, and we don't have to feel ashamed, or we don't have to feel guilty for pursuing the path of jnana. So now the next question is, can moksha be attained through other means? And Adi Shankara says no. He is also going to say why. We will just see these two shlokas. Shloka number 7. Amritatvasya nashasti vitte netyeva hi shrutihi braviti karmano muktehe ahetutvam sphutam yataha. And next shloka we are going to see in a different order. So after 7, we are going to see shloka number 13. We will be seeing the shlokas in between later. You know, just for the topic, I'm going to see the shloka number 13. Arthascha nischayo drishto vicharena hitoktitaha nasnanena dhanena pranayama shatena va. In these two shlokas, Adi Shankara says, Jnanam is the only path to moksha, and if you do other things without jnanam, if you are doing these things with jnanam, it is fine. But if you are only doing things just for doing sake without the atmaikya jnanam, you are not going to get moksha. Amritatvasya nasha na ashasti. Amritatva means moksha. You know, moksha, you are not going to get moksha. Braviti karmano muktehe ahetutvam sputam yataha vitte netyeva hishrutihi. Vedas, shruti means Vedas. Vedas says you cannot get moksha through what? Through vitta. Vitta means wealth. I give you this much money, please give me a place in moksha. You know, in Christianity, apparently, you know, that was the cause of split between, you know, in Christianity, Catholics and Protestants. Some people were selling papal bulls, apparently. They say, okay, give this much money to church, I will give you a certificate saying that you will get moksha. Apparently, they were selling. You know, Shastra says, no, nothing like that is going to happen. How much ever wealthy you have, if you do not have jnana, you are not going to get moksha. Braviti karmano muktehe ahetutvam. Karmanaha muktehe ahetutvam. Even if you do lot of karmas, Sandhya Vandanam is a karma, Somayagam is a karma. There are a lot of karmas that are told in Vedas. If you are doing those karmas just for doing the karma sake, you are not going to get moksha. But when you do Sandhya Vandanam with the knowledge of Asavadityo Brahmaivahamasmi, the case is different. But if you are just chanting the mantras without understanding the Atmaikya Bodha Vakyam, you cannot get moksha. Adi Shankara does not say, he says Shruti. Shruti says all these things. And in the next shloka, Arthascha Nischayo Drishto Vicharena Hitoktitaha Nasnanena Dhanena Pranayama Shatenava. Again, Arthasya. Arthaha means wealth. Wealth will not get you moksha. Nasnanena. I go to Ganga. I go to Yamuna. I go to Kaveri Pushkaram. And I just do snanam without any jnanam. Will that get me moksha? Adi Shankara says, better luck next time. You are not going to get moksha. And na danena. I am a great dana. I am like Karna. I give everything I have. Will that give me a seat in the moksha? In the moksha land? Adi Shankara says, better luck next time. Pranayama shatenava. I do hundreds of pranayama daily. If you do hundreds of pranayama daily, your body will be good. But will that give me moksha? Acharya says, no. You have to get moksha only through jnana. Now the next important question comes. Then what about all the karmas? All the Dharma Shastra says you have to go to temples. All the Dharma Shastra says you have to go to Kaveri, Pushkaram, you have to take bath. All the Dharma Shastra says you have to go to Ganga, you have to take bath in Ganga. I am not following anything else. I am following Dharma Shastra. How can the Shastras and Vedas, how can they misguide me? It is a question that everybody will ask, right? I am following Vedas. Vedas says do Sandhya Vandanam. Vedas say do Soma Yaga. I am following all these things. Then if it is not for moksha, then why should Veda confuse all of us with all these things? Why should Shastra confuse us with all of these things? It is a very legitimate question. And Acharya says, no. You are mistaken. You are misinterpreting my words, says Acharya. Acharya says, I only said that all these karmas will not give you moksha. I never said all these karmas are useless. I never said you should stop doing all these karmas. He says all these karmas are so useful, not for getting moksha, but for a different thing. Why? Chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastu labdhyaye vastu siddhir vicharena nakinchit karma kotibihi. Chittasya shuddhaye karma. We have to do all these karma for purification of our mind. Chitta shuddhi. Chitta means mind. Shuddhi means purification. All these karmas are very, very important for purification of our mind. Only when our mind is purified, we can sit in Viveka Chudamani class and all these teachings will actually go into our mind. Imagine I have a tumbler which is already filled with water. And if somebody comes and asks me to fill the same tumbler with milk, what should I do? I cannot pour milk over the water. If I pour milk over the water, it is going to be mixed with water and, milk is not going to be in the tumbler. What should I do? I should empty the tumbler first and then pour out milk and then pour milk into the tumbler, right? In the same way, all of our mind are filled with filth. We have paramai, we have kama, we have krodha, we have lobha, we have moha, we have mada, we have matsarya. Our minds are filled with all these things, and we have to purify our mind by doing puja. We have to purify our mind by doing japa. So all these puja, japa, all the Lalita Sahasranamam Parayanam, it is for purification of our mind. Only when our mind is purified, we can sit in the Viveka Chudamani class and we can listen to the teaching. The teaching can go into our mind and it can start making difference in our life. If our minds are not purified, how much ever Viveka Chudamani class we are sitting, it is not going to help us. Even previously we have saw Durlabam Trayame Vaitat Devanugraha Hetukam Manushyatvam Mumukshutvam Mahapurusha Samshrayam. Even if you want to come to Vedanta, you need Bhagavan's Kripa to come to Vedanta. How many people are there? How many people are interested in moksha? No one, right? We are all interested in moksha. Why? Because we have done puja. Because we have meditated upon God. Only that has led us to moksha. That has led us to, ruchi in moksha. And only when we have ruchi in moksha, we are all sitting in this Viveka Chudamani class. Otherwise, nobody has time. People, there are a lot of other distractions. But because of all these things, because of all the karma, our minds are purified and the teaching can go in. So then the next question can be, okay, now I have started listening to Viveka Chudamani. Should I stop doing all this karma? No, right? Because we are surrounded by all the things that are distracting us. And, we have to, once you clean a copper vessel and if you keep it for several days, you don't have to use the vessel. But randomly, all the dirt is going to fill the vessel, right? Our minds are like that copper vessel. You have to keep on cleaning. Even if you don't use it, that is okay. But you have to keep on cleaning in order to keep the vessel clean. In the same way, our mind, even though we have started listening to Viveka Chudamani, even though Viveka Chudamani says Jnana is the only path to get moksha, you should not leave all the pujas, all the japas, all the karmas, because they play a very, very important role in the purification of our minds. So with this, we will finish today's class. Don't worry, I know that I have skipped some of the shlokas. I have just reorganized so that the flow is not disturbed. We are going to see those shlokas in the later class. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.